There it is, sitting right there.
Well, he does look...
fucking a white male!
And he is sitting...
A phone camera is trained on Anita Sarkeesian as she prepares to speak on a panel. In footage later posted online, the camera wobbles slightly. Its setting is on high zoom. It follows her every move. After so many public appearances, Sarkeesian has grown accustomed to speaking in front of a few hundred people. But today, she feels a certain intimidation. A crowd of her most vociferous critics, including YouTubers, sit together in the front row. Their phones pointed at her. The camera carefully follows her as she acknowledges her co-panelist, as she checks her surroundings. Then, she looks directly into the camera. She looks at the man holding the camera, sitting in the front row. Carl Benjamin, a British YouTube personality in his late 30s. He has spoken vituperately? He has spoken many times over many years about Sarkeesian and her work. Some of his videos are thumbnailed with ludicrously photoshopped images of Sarkeesian. At the time of writing, his Twitter page is bannered with a picture of Sarkeesian. Benjamin has made his name dismissing her feminist documentary work, such as tropes versus women in video games. We're calling that documentaries now? Which details the cultural biases of video games. He is a hero for many in the hate group Gamergate. A rough assemblage of misogynists, racist, conspiracy theorists, and right-wing ideologues who have spent years harassing Sarkeesian and anyone who publicly supports her work. Most of his YouTube videos follow standard reactionary protocols, excoriating? Who the fuck is writing this article? Excoriating the supposed evils of political correctness, shady liberal elites, and the media. He has more than 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. He makes more than $5,000 a month from Patreon. Today, he is surrounded by a group of his supporters who have planned to come in force and take the front seat of this VidCon panel. The panel's first question drops. It's about why feminism, online and in games, is an issue worthy of discussion. Sarkeesian notes Benjamin's presence and begins speaking.
If you Google my name on YouTube, you get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos.
Why don't we just talk?
Whatever, dude.
Exactly.
The crowd gives her a positive response with some whoops and cheers. On the front rows, however, Benjamin and his retinue rock back and forth as if they are watching a comedy show. He yells back that he'd be allowed to debate with her.
Why don't we just talk?
Whatever, dude.
Exactly.
But she won't debate him. She understands that he's not in the least bit interested in what she has to say. After his humiliation... Wait, I thought we were saying that he was laughing about it. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Oh, you mean he'll eat it up anyway? Oh, okay. Benjamin posted a video complaining about Sarkeesian's comments and pointing out that they contravene VidCon policy. He also repeated his lamentation that she is avoiding debating him and said that Sarkeesian was guilty of smearing male gamers. As if you can even really attack a male in the first place.
Prejudice plus power.
Benjamin often points out that he asks his followers not to harass the subjects of his videos.
And so I tweeted at her that I learned from Lacey that some people who said they were my followers did horrible things. If the same happened to you, I am sorry, Anita. Naturally, I received no reply.
But that doesn't stop them assaulting Sarkeesian with vile insults. In the last few days, the usual litany of misspelled, crude, and violent insults have spiked.
Sodding, blimey, shagging, knickers, bollocks.
Her work has brought serious feminist ideas to a broad audience of gamers, including people working in the game industry.
You actually cause people to be shunned in this industry. People deny me interviews and don't want me covering their product because I am anti-feminist frequency. Not because people who think you're right, but because they're afraid.
Many of whom were previously ignorant of such notions.
It could be worse. At least you're not Anthony Burch.
Her scholarly take on video games enrages large numbers of men, many of them young. She has received death threats.
I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on Al-Qaeda.
Benjamin and his supporters claim they just want to engage with her. But in a video released by a fellow right-wing YouTuber, it becomes clear that there are other motives at play. Dave Cullen lounges on what appears to be a bed in a hotel room. Who knows? It could be made from the skin of feminist he's pwned on the internets. Pointing a camera at himself. He looks tired and slightly pleased with himself. He is an ally of Benjamin's, a fellow YouTuber who makes a full-time living feeding the internet's appetite for masculine fear and hurt. He was there.
I was there,
he says, at the VidCon Sarkeesian session. As he speaks, he claims that the first 3 rows were taken up by allies. He goes on to talk about how these allies coordinated amongst themselves at the event.
We carefully organized this so that on one side of the audience, we would all make up the top 3 rows. We'd all be sitting there and filming it.
He repeatedly claims the group is there to engage with Sarkeesian. But later, he says something very different.
We had a blast with this, and it was such an adrenaline high to be there in this situation.
To shitpost in this kind of trolling kind of way.
He goes on to claim there was no malice in their actions, and that it was playful.
I want to play a game.
Polygon sent his comment to Sarkeesian, asking for a response. She responded via email.
Hearing the honesty in that comment is weirdly almost kind of validating, because of course we know it's true. We've always known it's true. That for them, this is a kind of game, but they're constantly denying it. They're playing for fun. For them, it's a thrill to use the power they have under the
patriarchy
to try and keep women in their place, who try to intimidate or silence women who dare to speak out and assert their humanity and their right to exist as full human beings in these spaces. But for me and for other women who are targeted by cyber mobs, who endure ongoing campaigns of harassment, it's not fun. It's scary. It's traumatic. You have to be so far removed from reality of what you're doing to engage in this behavior. This is harassment, pure and simple.
Cullen's video includes footage of a group of supporters in an animated mood after the event, celebrating while at the same time expressing outrage that Benjamin had been called out. One of them jokes that he watches LGBT videos online. He likes the lesbian ones best. He laughs at his own joke.
I watch everything on YouTube, but I kind of only watch the LGBT lesbian stuff.
Right, I watch lesbian stuff all the time.
Yeah, I watch lesbian stuff too. I love that
one
shit.
sentence on how I filmed it.
Guys, are we gonna include that? I'm pretty sure he was talking about the panel, not himself. So far as we know, none of those who trolled Sarkeesian were kicked out.
And there it is, sitting right there.
Well,
Polygon contacted VidCon seeking further clarification. We received an auto-reply that the team is currently on vacation. Later, a statement was released, which included the following.
It is difficult to imagine that this group of people, who are aware that their channels have been base camps for years of harassment of some of our panelists, did not realize that their arriving early to fill up the 3 front rows of a panel was going to be intimidating. In any case, it looked like intentional intimidation to most people in attendance, and the panelists were understandably on edge throughout the discussion.
Sarkeesian says that VidCon security was increased for panels she attended later in the event. They offered her the chance to step down from those sessions, but she declined, arguing that she did not want the trolls to feel like they had scored some sort of victory.
You serious?
I had to go out on another panel knowing that my harassers were in the audience, filming me for nefarious reasons. And there was nothing I could do about it. When push comes to shove, conventions like VidCon should stand up and support women and other marginalized folks who are harassed. Why should I, Anita Sarkeesian, have to go out there in that toxic environment?
And he is sitting.
Why are these men punished for creating that environment? After all, this is a conference about online video culture attended primarily by YouTubers. And it's no secret that YouTube has an incredibly toxic culture. It's critical that events like VidCon recognize that and implement policies that prevent that toxicity from bleeding over into the event. No YouTube creator who makes videos that serve to target and harass individuals should be allowed to attend. And anyone who uses material filmed at a convention to harass individuals should be blacklisted from future events.
Polygon asked Sarkeesian for her response to Benjamin's oft-repeated claim, echoed by many controversial YouTubers, that he is anti-harassment. She replied with a well-known GIF showing cartoon characterizations of Batman, Robin, and Green Arrow sharing a mirthful moment. Wait, really? We're gonna put that in the article? At the end of the conference, a question and answer session prompted some audience members to line up. In a blog entry posted after the event, Sarkeesian wrote that she is generally wary of such sessions because they tend to attract bad faith questions. Unfortunately, VidCon was no exception. One man stood up and asked Sarkeesian if
I'm just curious, the various things that you've said online over the past few years, do you truly believe them? Okay.
what happened. You didn't do the thing.
just curious. The various things that you've said online over the past few years, do you truly believe them?
Another man stood up and asked,
As you can see from this video, the black community is very violent towards Trump and his supporters.
In later sessions, VidCon decided to moderate all questions in Sarkeesian's panels. On the question of debating her critics, Sarkeesian offers this explanation.
My position is rooted in an understanding of what bell hooks has succinctly referred to as imperialist, white supremacist, capitalistic patriarchy. It sometimes requires a lot of unpacking to come to a basic understanding of this. You may need to take classes or read books that illuminate how systems of power have functioned throughout the history of our culture before you come to understand and accept that these systems actually do exist and impact people's daily lives. But they do.
Wait a minute. Is she saying she's so terrible at explaining her views that you have to read books written by smarter people about the ideas she's parroting in order to properly debate her? Because that's what it sounds like she's saying.
Cut!
Institutionalized sexism and racism are real, and their effect on our lives is tremendous. Meanwhile, their position that these things don't really exist is the dominant position in this culture.
And I asked Google staff and some of the heads at YouTube if they were familiar with any of these people and some of the people that I've criticized recently. And none of them knew any.
They can skip right to bashing my ideas, and their followers will eat it up no matter what I say. It's a losing game. I'm not gonna change anyone's minds debating with any of them. More importantly, I shouldn't have to debate the fact that I am a human being who deserves basic respect. And in fact, that is itself a core issue with all of this. How degrading and exhausting it is just to have to keep arguing for and fighting for and begging for our own humanity.
You get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos.
Why don't we just talk?
Whatever, dude.
Exactly.
Polygon attempted to contact Benjamin via his Twitter page and email address, but have yet to receive a reply.
Maybe he's too busy eating babies.
I can't wait to eat this. Baby?
In the aftermath of the VidCon confrontation, Gamergate, centric corners of the internet swelled with outrage at Sarkeesian's comments. In his video, Cullen complained,
She's the one talking, and she started attacking him in this context. And fucking unbelievable. Like, this abuse is acceptable? What has he done to deserve this? He's just sitting there.
And he is sitting.
menacingly. Sarkeesian says it's clear that Benjamin and his entourage were there to intimidate her.
He had come with several others, and together they took up roughly the first 2 rows. Of course he wanted to be seen, and I knew, because he was filming the panel, that he would use it to harass me, and potentially drive harassment to my co-panelists. So I used the first question as an opportunity to let them and the audience know what was happening. I certainly have no regrets, and I definitely didn't flip out.
Patriarchy!
This is a man who has spent years driving harassment towards me and other women online. Under the circumstances, considering his pattern of behavior and just everything he's put me and others through, I'd say garbage human was one of the kinder things I could have called him. So many of us have spent so long internalizing this expectation that we don't confront this kind of abuse directly. We don't openly acknowledge it. We suffer it in silence. and these men just go on spewing their bullshit without any consequences. As women, we're told not to engage, not to stoke the fire, and that forces us into silence. It forces us to be quiet in the face of harassment.
These people inserted themselves to get a response, and some of my panelists gave it to them.
Patriarchy!
And so I, Anita Sarkeesian, think that for some women who understand what I've been through, or who have been through it themselves, it was cathartic to see me not stay silent, to see me call him out directly like that, to acknowledge in front of all those people what he's done.
Sarkeesian's brief and public ownership of Benjamin is unlikely to alter the toxic dynamic of gaming's reactionary core. Wait. Public ownership? Did they mean to say owned? Or pwned? Did somebody's 50-year-old mother write this? Too many people are enraptured in their own blind rage. They carry with them a curious self-defeating notion that fairness and common decency spell their own disenfranchisement and marginalization. To a small cadre of YouTube blowhards, it's also extremely lucrative. When confronted with the consequences of appalling behavior, those organizations that host abusive activities, including VidCon, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, offer little more than pleasantries and useless palliatives. You hear that, Green Brothers? You apologized to Anita after she insulted an audience member, and it's still not enough. You should have had Carl arrested. You should be ashamed of yourselves, you pieces of sh**. They are ignoring their own urgent duty to show some courage, to fully confront these awful displays of bullying.
If you Google my name on YouTube, you get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos.
Acceptable. No, unacceptable.
If individuals like Anita Sarkeesian can stand up to such aggression, why can't these huge and powerful organizations? Alright guys, that's a wrap. Wait, what do you mean this wasn't for the Onion?
It's been a very long time since I've pissed myself with an erection.
You what?